has the right to tell what they do not want to hear. CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. Tired of the same repetitive government narratives? Then wave goodbye to the distractions and rhetoric of corporate media. For this is Anti-Media Radio.
But I want to get the language right. The e-government is in trouble.
You're all a bunch of slaves! Bunch of slaves!
What we need in the United States is not violence and lawlessness, but is love and wisdom and compassion toward one another.
What's your definition of media?
And now, here's your host, S.M. Gibson.
It is September the 13th, 2016. My name is S.M. Gibson, and this is Anti-Media Radio. Today, believe it or not, the 20th anniversary of Tupac passing away. I would say killed, but he was killed, 7 days before he actually died. But yeah, today's anniversary, 20 years. Can you believe that it's been 20 years since he died? It seems like yesterday. Where does all the time go? A lot going on in the news right now. Hillary Clinton hadn't quite fallen over yet. She doesn't look good for her, though. Also, elsewhere in the world, what is it? We've got Facebook's co-founder, even though he's unbiased, of course, he's donating $20 million to help elect Hillary Clinton. We've got that story up right now on the front page of the antimedia.org. Speaking of Facebook, I actually am currently serving a 30-day ban for posting a meme up on Sunday, which was September the 11th. All the meme did was make a reference to passports not being able to burn, I guess, from jet fuel. For those who don't know, the passports were found below the World Trade Centers on September 11th, 2001. But, everything else was destroyed. But the paper passports, they survived. So by pointing that out on Facebook, I'm now serving a 30-day ban. But they don't censor people. Don't worry about it. That's not actually happening. It's all whatever. Whatever. It's over. It's screwed. People are idiots. Stupid idiots. I'm going to go ahead and bring on someone who's not a stupid idiot most of the time. Our wonderful co-host, brilliant Shannon Madden. Shannon, what's up?
Yeah, I got your stupid idiot right here. He's sitting right here in this chair, keeping it real.
Yeah.
One meme at a time.
That's it. So I want to go ahead and get to something actually massively important. The Dakota protest. People started getting arrested today.
Wait a minute. Whoa. What's all that about? You're just going to skip right over the fact that Hillary Clinton, the possible future free leader...
she's not. How many times have I said she's never going to be president? How many times have I said that? Don't even come at me with that.
No, we really do need to talk about the pipeline. That situation is, it is blowing up.
And speaking of Facebook censoring something that's actually not just some meme, they were putting up the live stream all over Facebook. And yeah, Facebook keeps pulling it down, telling people they can't share it. It's an independent news outlet, Unicorn Riot. At least 20 protesters, including 2 of the journalists from Unicorn Riot, were arrested, along with medics as well. and they have the live stream going on.
They arrested medics.
Yeah,
Wow.
But okay, that's on site though, and sadly, I hate to be pessimistic here, but that's kind of the world we're living in. I hate to be that guy, but that's not terribly shocking. As horrific as it is, it shouldn't be happening. No. But just to get the information out there is being censored. And I don't think at this point, any of this should be a shock to anybody. And I think that goes to for the bravery. It stands for the bravery of some of these people, that they're going out there and standing up for this stuff, no matter the consequences.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes for real change to occur in this country, is for people to stand up for what they believe in. And here's one for you. And I saw this going around. Oh, well, it's sacred land. It's sacred land. Get over it. Put the pipeline in. You know how people are on Facebook.
Yeah.
Somebody made a reference. What if somebody wanted to put a pipeline through where the World Trade Centers were on Ground Zero? You think they'd allow that to happen? People would freak out. People would freak out.
Wait a minute. Is there oil there?
I don't.
Because that may change the whole narrative altogether. We might have finally found the truth. We've stumbled upon it.
Right. But anyways, just let everybody know in North Dakota right now, keep doing what you're doing, and please keep following stories on Anti-Media and Unicorn Ride as well. They're on the ground, doing their best to live stream the happenings of what's going on. Just want to let everybody up there know that we're thinking about them, and best of luck. They've kind of stopped in one area. They've stopped it, and a lot of people that is a victory, but it's a small victory because they're still doing whatever they want all around the area. That's not the only place that they're drilling and putting in the pipeline. So
yeah.
People are still fighting for what they believe in up there, and it's getting more serious by the day. So I wanted to start with that.
Yeah, very important story. And again,
hashtag no DAPL.
Another example of active activism, getting up off your butt and making it happen. And kudos to all the people on the ground there.
That's it. All right, Shannon, go ahead. What's your thoughts on Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, I know, it's really kind of like that.
It really is.
I don't care about that old bag. I really don't. I mean, it's sad that she fell down and passed out and almost died.
Okay, speaking of, I got some.
Wait a minute, it's pneumonia. Excuse me. Let me take that back. She just died.
I got some grievances here. I'm going to start airing real quick, even though it's
not airing of grievances.
Even though it's not December the 23rd. I've got with the Washington Post. First off, I want to point out that the Washington Post said, "Hey, let's not forget this is the Washington Post of the Watergate
is that still a
scandal."
Relevant publication?
No, they've gone full like legit crazy conspiracy. Like they've lost their minds. So they said that Hillary stumbled on Sunday. If you haven't seen it, by the way, there is a video of Bill Clinton talking to Charlie Rose about the situation and says, don't worry about it. This is something that happens frequently. No, opposite of that. What's the opposite?
He was referencing the doctor visits that she's been taking frequently. I mean, not hardly at all. Like maybe once.
No, he was talking about her falling over.
Yeah, and just once in a blue. I mean, it only happens.
But here's what's scary about that: that CBS edited the transcript.
Really?
That leads me to my biggest grievance with the Washington Post. First off, they said she stumbled, whatever. And that's a joke.
She fell out.
She did.
She passed out. She passed out. Secret Service rushed around and kind of made their little barrier there. But yeah,
they are so in the bed with her and her candidacy. They had the gall to run a story. They didn't say it outright, but they heavily insinuated that somehow because she's not sick, that what happened is she was
What had happened was-
poisoned by possibly, we know Donald Trump hates her a lot, and we know Vladimir Putin hates her, and heavily suggested that she was possibly poisoned by Vladimir. The Washington Post, like, typed those words out and wrote it in such a way where you link it together and saw it all there together, and the only conclusion could be that she was poisoned because she's just a healthy woman just trying to save the country. That's
Now,
all
that's
she's doing.
a conspiracy theory.
That's the craziest.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I can't believe they didn't run a story that said, well, she stumbled and Putin, you didn't see Putin run across and trip her? Like, might as well have just said that.
Oh, man, somebody needs to make that GIF. Oh, that would be awesome.
It would be quite funny.
Remember the one with Trump, and it was Bernie came out and made the little thing, and then Trump started, like, raising hell, and then Bernie disappears? Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
There's
yeah,
calls
that
for
needs to
Bernie to
happen.
get back in the race. We all know that ain't going to happen.
Is he awake still?
It ain't Bernie. They're not going to let him in there. Look, they didn't make him vice president. They're not going to let him anywhere near anything. He says the words big banks too much and not in a positive light. Bernie forgot who really runs this show, and they're not going to let him in near anything.
Well,
and even though, look, I'm not the biggest Bernie supporter, but he makes some really rich people uncomfortable.
I don't know why.
Well, so he's not getting anywhere near anything. So they can forget that.
Well,
They would have let him through the first time, when he had way more votes than her.
yeah, yeah.
She had more coin tosses, though, go in her favor, didn't she?
I don't know though. He kind of took it up the butt in the DNC, so I don't think
He didn't look
I don't
happy
think he's
with
going to
that.
get if he came back in the
He
ring.
looked
I don't
really
think,
defeated.
I don't think he would get all of his supporters back. I'm just whatever.
I think he'd have more support.
Maybe
I think people are so desperate for anything. that-
anything other than Trump.
Well, other than her.
Well, depends on what color your state is. I'm sure.
I don't think people. I don't even think people care about that anymore. Like, I don't think it's going to go that way. Look, she's never going to be president because everybody hates her. The end. They would literally vote for the
I don't know.
host.
I
I'm
was
telling you,
seeing a
they'll
lot-
literally vote for the host of The Apprentice.
I
over
was
her.
seeing a outpouring of support today on Facebook for Hillary and concerns for her. No, wait a minute. No, I wasn't either. No, it was some dank memes everywhere I looked. More, even some people that I kind of thought were a little left leaning on my Facebook feed are posting the Hillary falling over gifs and memes and stories and.
Any support she had,
OMGs, yeah.
support she had from the quote unquote left went out the window when she did what she did to Bernie.
Yeah, there's still a few of them out there.
Man, maybe. Look, it's all anti-Trump people. It ain't pro-Hillary people. I don't believe there's pro-Hillary people.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I believe there's anti-Trump people that would vote for her,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think there's actually like, yeah, she's gonna fix it all. Who believes that? Really? Is there a human being like that actually believes that? All like for 25 years, it's all just been one grand conspiracy after another with her. Like, it's so laughable that there are jokes going around that pneumonia, quote unquote, is going to be shot and it's going to be called a suicide. Now, that's obviously stupid, but like, that's how mainstream the narrative
I
is.
don't know. No, you saw what they did to Harimbe, so
Look, that's how, but
Harimbe knew something about
but that's how
Hillary.
mainstream the narrative is, that they just off people.
Yeah.
Like, that's where we're living at. Like, it's not hidden. Everybody just kind of laughs about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this country's become.
Yeah.
And yet there's still people that get upset when a football player won't stand up. It's like, do you not see what's happening in front of you right now? That's what you're concerned about? If that's what your top priority is, while clearly your country's been hijacked right in front of you and you're worried about a guy standing up at a football game, you aren't paying attention to anything.
Yeah. Of course, I've suggested that we change the national anthem, but whatever.
You have. You were on that
Some people have listened
You've
to
been
it.
on that bandwagon for a while.
I know. I got almost 18,000 signatures now. I need some more.
For those who
Because
don't know.
I think it's like 25,000. You get 25,000 and it actually gets like sent to Bahrain.
Well, For those who don't know, tell people about the petition.
I put up a petition on change.org to change the national anthem to something that reflects all.
That's it. I think we cut out there for a second, but that's cool.
It's got like 18,000 signatures so far, and I think it should get more. I think it should get a lot more. I think it should get like 100,000.
It's done well.
I mean, I don't know at the end of the day if I can get like some free Black Sabbath tickets or something. I think that's at the very least I should get, like a signed box set by Tommy Iommi and Ozzy Osbourne. I think Geezer Butler's still around, isn't he?
I have no idea. So you're going to see the Snowden movie that's coming out?
Snowden
Friday?
movie's coming out. Look, first off, I'm a big Oliver Stone fan, so I'm on that alone. I'm gonna check it out. I expect it to be a Hollywood dramatization of Snowden, but that being said, I like the fact that it's going to cast Snowden in in a neutral light. I expect. I don't think I've even seen any of the trailers for the movie yet. But I fully expect it's going to be, a pretty much a kind of a neutral documentation of what he's done. I mean, since it was a pretty much a transparent documentation with the film Citizen 4, which we were talking about before the show, that story kind of speaks for itself. And I don't know. I'm just glad that the American public is at least talking about Snowden. And there right now is a push for quite a few serious, major organizations are petitioning President Obama right before he steps out the door in January to pardon Edward Snowden.
Starting on Wednesday, it's going to be the ACLU, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, among others, that are petitioning Obama to pardon him. Realistically, though, we were talking about this before the show. Let's just say hypothetically.
And again, we need to plug the fact that there is an article right now up on www.theantimedia.org for your perusal. But go ahead, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
What would happen if they pardoned him? Do you really think when you have somebody like Donald Trump saying we should just kill him, among others, by the way, that are prominent in U.S. politics? Oh, he's a traitor, he's this. That's pretty much the narrative you get from politicians. Do you really believe that he would just jump on a plane and come on home? Do you really think that would be the safest option for him?
I would be rather apprehensive about that myself. That's kind of... We just, I'm sorry. We know how the American government does business. And just because, another friend of the United States at one point in time, a fellow by the name, what's his name again? Oh, Arabic fellow, what was his name? Oh, Saddam Hussein, remember him? When did you see him hanging around last?
Hanging around. Yeah, but...
Yeah. And again, he did play his part in it, but, ultimately, when you cross the United States, I'm sorry, I don't care if they have told you all's forgiven, Muammar Gaddafi.
Well, I don't think you can compare in any way, that's ridiculous to compare Snowden and Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, because Saddam Hussein did some really, really nasty things, and all
Edward Snowden did
was tell the truth.
The guys, Edward Snowden is an actual hero.
Public.
Saddam Hussein was not a hero in any way, shape, or form. He was just some patsy they used.
He was friendly with the United States and
for a while,
and then he turned.
But he was still a scumbag.
He turned, and
Snowden's not a scumbag, and
no. He's not, and he should be pardoned. He should receive a full pardon because it's absolutely ridiculous because he let the American public know where their money's going, where their taxpayer money's going towards. And a lot of just really just awful, terrible, nasty, just vile things. And we don't even know the full extent of it yet. Not every single file that he's file that he was able to obtain has been released.
We know enough, though, to know that we've been getting spied on indiscriminately for years now.
Yeah.
And look, if he came back and they offed him in the middle of Times Square, what would anybody even do about it at this? Like, that's where I feel like they're so blatant with everything that's happening. Everybody's just like, okay, well, you better keep standing for the flag. Like that. Like, I think people just go, yeah. Like, I don't think we would care.
Yeah.
And it's sad. Like, he should just stay where he's at. It seems like he's living his life now. Why? And it's not like he can come back anyway right now because he wouldn't get a real trial. It would all be this, under the cover of darkness kind of business. Mm-hmm. And they would just throw him to the wolves. Look at Chelsea Manning, who I want to say is on a hunger strike right now. I mean, look at that situation. Snowden would get a worse treatment, I think. Because he's so high, yeah. So much more high profile. But I personally, for whatever it's worth, think of the actions of Edward Snowden as, what he did was a favor to the American people, and it should be treated that way. And it took, a lot of guts to do what he did, especially knowing what the consequences could have been. And he did it anyway. So, there should be more people that stand up. But look, whistleblowers, whistleblower protection. Remember when Obama said we're going to protect all the whistleblowers?
Then bring Snowden now.
Yeah, right.
Give him a full pardon. Hey, sorry about that. Everybody freaked out. No big deal. We just had to change the way that we do business. So, anywho. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the movie. I think it's going to be by all accounts, it's going to be pretty good. Speaking of movies, one of our former guests, ways back, has a new movie out on Showtime. Our old friend, John McAfee. And apparently there is a big stink being raised about it and some of the things that are contained in the film. Have you heard about any of this?
A little bit. I haven't kept up with it too closely.
There is McAfee. If you can go to his Facebook page. He actually posts him. He's like one of the few people, like big celebrity names or whatever, that actually really does post his stuff on Facebook. He's very active on social media, and you can go to his Facebook page, and he's got several rebuttal pieces that have been published about the Showtime piece. But it's pretty fascinating, the narrative that's going back and forth about what actually happened. But the movie is called Gringo, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. I think it'll be rather interesting. McAfee is a very interesting character.
He is. I tell you what, I mentioned this earlier, and since CBS has edited this out and they're not letting people hear it or see it or acting like it even happened, I want to play real quick a little clip.
Do it.
Bill Clinton, hooray, talking to Charlie Rose about whatever happened over the weekend with
when you look
wife.
At that collapse, that video that was taken, you wonder if it's not more serious.
No,
than dehydration.
She's been well, if it is, it's a mystery to me and all of her doctors, because rarely, but on more than one occasion over the last many, many years, the same sort of things happened to her when she just got severely dehydrated.
So wait, not frequently? Is that what we're saying? Frequently, not frequently? Frequently, not frequently. But, Bill Clinton, he's never lied to anybody, has he?
Did he have his thumb out when he was saying that?
No, he had
the little clenched fist thumb out thing that he does? Because that's when he's talking some serious business right there.
His finger in his eye for some reason. Yeah. I don't know what that's about. But
that eye's black this morning, I can guarantee you that.
All right, there we go. I'm trying to get the phone lines working. Doesn't appear to be. But whatever. We'll get it sorted out. Technology at its finest, I believe. As a wise man once said. So, look, this whole election business, what even more is there to say about it? This is what I think the overall mentality is for most Americans. They're sick and tired of it. They're sick of being lied to. This is a joke. This is a farce. Nobody wants to vote for either one of these idiots.
So do you suggest a third-party candidate?
I don't know. I don't know. Look, it's from top to bottom of what's going on.
I mean, you know where I'm going with this.
I know
you know where
this.
my stance is on the whole thing altogether, and probably from conversations I've had with various anti-media staff, I think we're all going to sit this one out.
I feel like that's probably what a lot of people feel.
And a lot of people will do, I might add. If you look at previous elections over the past, I don't know, when is it really started to take the slide?
Okay, look.
As far as the actual voting public going out and voting.
Forget the elections for a second. Let's just talk about what the United States does in our name. Okay, U.S. and Israel are agreeing to like a $38 billion military aid deal. Okay, $38 billion.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing against Israel. It's nothing against anybody, anywhere. It can be against them. It can be for them. Whatever.
And we do have a story up about that very same
Here's the thing.
On
at the
WWW.
bottom, at the end of the day,
mm-hmm.
I don't care who they're giving the money to. If they're the worst people in the world, if they're great people, it's irrelevant. We have no money. We're broke. This country is in debt.
No, I mean, we're not. We're beyond broke. We're way beyond
and
broke.
You can get into the conversation.
It's like when you go to your checking account and you look at your checking account and you've got 4 cents in your checking account. We don't even have 4 cents. We are, where are we at now on the debt clock? 16 trillion.
It's like
17,
19, man.
19 trillion.
It's ridiculous. On top of that, we can get into what they're actually doing. Look, this is for military aid. Look what our military aid, what they've done, first off, in Gaza with just Israel. Let's look at what our military aid with Saudi Arabia is doing. Okay? I mean, there are
We're not selling them cluster bombs, and I don't know why you keep bringing it up.
Well, that's happening like all the time. But war crimes committed by all these countries, okay? Right now, the most day-to-day pressing is what's happening in Yemen and Saudi Arabia. I think the last story was 21 civilians or something. But it's every day. Here's a dozen more civilians.
These are people that are not fighting, that don't have guns in their hands, that are pointed towards America.
This is what U.S. tax dollars
people
go
trying
for.
to get from one place to the other.
This is what U.S. tax dollars go for.
Getting caught in the crossfire.
And okay. The CIA director comes out to remind everybody that Saudi Arabia is our great ally in fighting terrorism. Okay? This is the same country that Congress just passed that victims of 9/11 are going to be allowed to sue them over 9/11 because guess what? Despite what mainstream media reports, the 28/29 pages, the money came through Saudi Arabia for what happened on 9/11. They're guilty of what happened on that day, and they're called our allies. Like, this is what a joke this has become.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Obama's, of course, they're going to veto the thing. And nobody's going to be allowed to sue anybody because that would set such a precedent. It would be out of control. They would start losing control of everything because they would be admitting that they were involved while this whole time they're great friends and allies. It's an absolute joke. Think about our ally was at least partially responsible for what happened on 9/11. We won't even. I won't even get into the other stuff, which we can go about for days.
Mm-hmm.
Just this one topic of Saudi Arabia's involvement and money coming through embassies, checks being written. Okay, they're our allies to fight terrorism. We're going to talk about 9/11, but they say never forget. No, never forget what? Never forget that they want to keep using this for every war that they want to start around the planet. That's what they don't want you to forget. They don't want you to forget the fear you felt.
One of my favorite memes floating around right now.
They want you to forget the details.
What's the difference between 9/11 and a cow? Is you can't milk a cow for 15 years.
It's sad. And you know what? Here's the thing. Real people died that day. 2,000 people. Say thousands, but 2,000 people roughly died that day. And it's terribly sad. And the whole thing has been one gigantic lie.
After lie, after lie, after lie.
So, I don't know what people are talking about when they say, well, you know, this election's important, this, and this, and this. If we're operating at such a level that the country that was involved in the worst terrorist attack in American history, and they're called our allies, while we spread nothing but violence and bombs around the rest of the Middle East. Mind you, Saudi Arabia is enjoying every single second of us doing that. They're being rewarded. I wonder why they're being rewarded. That's a whole different conversation, too, but it's just insane. It leaves me speechless to think about. Speechless. Like, what do you even say to that? Our tax dollars are going to war crimes in Yemen. Okay? We want to talk about Gary Johnson in Aleppo and Syria. Let's talk about Syria. Let's talk about what's going on in Syria. First off, that's just a nightmare on both sides. It's bad. It's bad on every side of that. And they've got it, sort of a ceasefire going. We'll see how that works out. I think, did it go into effect today? I think it did. They've tried this a few times. I don't know if it'll stick this time around. But nobody's sitting here claiming like Assad's some great guy, but let's get realistic here. How did this happen? What's going on? We tried to get involved. Was it in 2013? Tried to scare everybody to death. And everybody's like, nah, we fell for this before. No thanks. And so what does the United States do? All right, we won't do it. Y'all aren't paying attention anymore? Good. All right, send them in.
Yeah.
Nobody's paying attention anymore. And that's how that's what they're doing with Iraq right now. They're sending troops in a few hundred at a time.
They're not there to fight any war or nothing. They're there to train other people.
They're right under the official count. They're right under 5,000 troops in Iraq.
Yeah. But we're not at war with them anymore, so we're good.
Oh, right.
They're just there for ground support, infrastructure. Yeah.
And that's not to include all the soldiers they're not accounting for. That also doesn't include, which is a much greater percentage of the private contracted military presence in Iraq, especially, but over the Middle East, Afghanistan. People don't realize, too, that wars right now are being fought with private mercenaries, basically. And that's a great way for the United States government to say, we don't know what you're talking about. We don't have people over there. Oh, well, those guys went over there. They went over there to do stuff. We didn't do it.
It makes you wonder sometimes what's in that black budget that you hear about all the time that the Pentagon has. Well, anyway, we'll never know because the plane that crashed into the one office that they never did they ever rebuild that? Put that back together.
That's all conspiracy. Didn't you hear Putin tripped Hillary the other day?
I read that on Washington Post.
Speaking of Hillary, there's a story that I wanted to hit on real fast that hasn't gotten really any play in the media. We have a story up on it on the antimedia.org. CIA-backed general's troops seize key Libyan oil ports. So Libya, remind you that Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State was all about regime change in Libya. So over the weekend, Libyan army forces loyal to General Khalifa Haftar have attacked and captured multiple oil ports formerly controlled by the PFG, or the Petroleum Facilities Guard, and from the UN-backed government. Here's the thing: this general is been backed and supported by the CIA. So this is more U.S. involvement in Libya. Well, think about when Gaddafi got put out of power. Now, when it happened...
Put out of power, that's one way to put it.
Well, okay, but the reason I
Put out
worded
of
it like
existence.
that... Well, that is what happened.
That is what happened.
Okay, but when it happened, of course, remember, they just got mad at him. We don't know what happened. We didn't have anything to do with that. Oh, that just happened. You know, that's just the environment, guys. We weren't involved. And then Secretary of State Clinton, what was her famous line? We came, he's whatever it was, he died. Yeah, and her cackle.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 he died. So, from the Secretary of State at the time, out of her own mouth, taking credit for him dying, okay? They killed the guy. They overthrew the country. She was very involved in regime change. You want to talk about, look, she's just like the Bushes. Anyway. So, we now have a new situation that Haftar, this general, who himself is a long-standing CIA asset, they just overthrew some oil ports in Libya. Thanks, guys. Oil. Great. Fantastic job, everyone. Well done.
Hang on 1 second. I could play this all night.
No, put it down. That's ridiculous. Stop it.
I love this. I love this so much. You can look on YouTube, and there is a video of Hillary Clinton laughing for 10 hours. It is like...
Have you heard that the
creepiest thing ever?
The DNs...
I'm going to play this for Halloween. For the kids coming over for candy, I'm just going to play this on the big stereo and crank it up as loud as I can.
That would be horribly creepy.
Yeah.
You know, they saying there's the rumor going around they're going to replace her, whatever that's worth.
But with a newer model?
I guess that's what you can call it.
Which one are we on right now? What is this, Hillary 3.5?
I have 3.6. I have no idea. Did you catch the story over the weekend? Real quick, while I'm looking at it. The physicist that came out and said that the towers were destroyed by controlled demolition.
Yeah,
physicists came out and did.
Seems like I read something about that. More of those inconvenient truths.
Yeah, Europhysics News. Did you see the reporter that was down at the Florida game showing people footage of Building 7 collapsing and not telling them what it was and just asking, what is this? And, of course, the response is, it's building imploding. And then explain to them what it was, and people would get mad and be like, you're crazy. And then one guy called the police, and the police, you arrested or not arrested him. They took him in, handcuffed him, took him to the jail.
And just asked him some hard questions.
Right, and then they let him go without charges. But because there was nothing, because he was showing a video to people and asking someone a question.
Thank goodness he didn't arrest. He might be dead today. That happens, you know.
But look, that's what's in front of us. It's from top to bottom. It's from top to bottom, and it is on us to do what we have to do.
Which is?
I don't even know.
It's not vote. I can tell you that right now. Voting is what got us into this mess.
We've got to change the way we live. We got to change the way we eat. We got to change the way we treat each other.
Hey, we'll just change the way we vote.
That's what
all we need
Tupac
to do.
said, right? That's what Tupac said on this 20th anniversary of him dying. And we need to love everybody around us.
Tupac's
That's it.
not dead. He's in that island with
Shut up.
Elvis and Jim Morrison.
Yeah, Jim Morrison clearly died. That guy, he had some issues, some health problems. Elvis did too. That's for a...
Elvis was a drug czar. Or just a DEA agent, I don't know. If you probably asked him, he probably told you he was a drug czar with a mouthful of peanut butter and nanner sandwiches. When was the last time you've had a peanut butter? Well,
Never.
You can't do the peanut butter.
Never. I tell you what, I want to play, speaking of Tupac, and the situation, 20th anniversary and the situation, what's going on in the country. This interview, 93, Nick would probably correct me. This is when he was still in jail. So this interview was 23 years ago. And how relevant it is for today in the world, and how little things have changed.
No. What do you think about youth and gang violence in America, especially in the black communities and Hispanic communities? Youth and gang violence. I think I'm gonna get a lot of flack for it. I think gangs can be positive. It just has to be organized. And it has to steer away from being self-destructive to being self-productive. I think this country was built on gangs. Mm-hmm. You know, I think this country still is run on gangs. Republicans, Democrats, the police department, the FBI, the CIA, those are gangs. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The correctional officers. Mm-hmm. I had a correctional officer tell me straight up, we the biggest gang in New York State. Straight up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So this whole country is built on gangs. We just have to not be so self-destructive about it. Organize, you know. But the violence, but it's violence in America. What did the USA just do flying to Bosnia? We ain't got no business over there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. How can they tell us not to have gang? You know what gang violence is? Mostly, and the people don't want you to hear this, somebody shoots your family member. So of course you retaliate. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Same thing the US does, except nobody even shot their family members. You know, they see somebody bomb a school and all these people get killed, so the United States feel like, oh, that's messed up. We got to go show them who's the real killers. That's the same mentality these gangsters get. You know what I mean? So until they stop that mentality, we won't stop, or they won't stop, because they watch this country to see what they do. America is the biggest gang in the world. You know what I mean? Look at how they didn't agree with Cuba. So what was the cut them off? That's what we do in the street. We block things off. I want to say stop the violence. I want to say the violence ain't good. Why can't you say that then?
Because that's not realistic. I know it's not good. If anybody speak up against violence, it'll be the brother that got shot 5 times. Mm-hmm. I got shot twice in my head, all up in... Trust me, violence ain't cool. And they know violence ain't cool. Ain't nobody out there with a gun saying it's cool to be shooting people. Mm-hmm. It's just, you know, it's certain situations where there is no way out. But there are situations where we can find a way out. But until we find that way out, we can't say not to live this lifestyle. Now, too, we as black men, Puerto Ricans, whatever, so we stand up and start taking control of our communities, we can't get mad at anybody who stands up to do anything. You know what I mean? So I believe that it's the community that needs to do something about it. I do believe that there's a piece of liability on the drug dealers and the gangsters and the gangs and all of that, but these are not scholars. You know what I mean? We pay taxes. We pay taxes. This government is not doing anything to stop it. When the people in LA, after the rebellion, we stopped and there was a truce, mm-hmm. Nothing happened. Did we get any jobs? No. Did we get any relief? No. But every time there's a flood, an earthquake, or a thunderstorm, America will give mad millions to somebody because their house broke down. They don't care if we stop the violence or not. They don't care about gang violence. You know what I mean? Every time that Bosnia gets shot up, any place gets shot up, they send them a whole bunch of millions in food and packages from Somalia, everywhere. Everybody getting food but us. Mm-hmm. So we don't want the gang violence to stop. So they can't ask me to tell them to stop the violence, because I can't tell nobody who's hungry what to do unless I'm ready to feed them. Then I'll tell them what to do.
How can gangs be positive in the community? Regulate our community. If you got somebody dealing drugs in the community, make them pay for the community center. Make them have hours that they can work on that block. You know what I mean? And if they don't want to listen, then you turn against them. Be security in your own neighborhood. You know what I mean? If we so strong as gangs and as hustlers and as G's and as thugs or whatever, it should be no rapes, there should be no violence, there should be no gunshots in our community unless we the ones sparking it, unless we doing that to somebody that's trying to infiltrate or break down our community. You know what I mean? All this money that we make in the streets, we should bring it back and turn it back into the community. We need to have block parties again. We need to have leagues, summer leagues, and football teams, and basketball teams. We need to start taking care of our own. That's how it can be positive. It can be positive when we start, sending these young G's to school, sending the younger G's to college. Let them come back and build something.
And, I think the moral of what he was getting at there is people taking charge of their own communities. Stop relying on the government to take care of you. There's a situation that happened in Birmingham over the weekend, terribly sad, in one of the housing projects here. One person ended up getting killed. First off, mass shootings happen all the time in this country, and they never get reported because they happen in housing projects. They happen in predominantly black areas. They happen in poor areas. In Birmingham, Alabama, over the weekend, one person killed, 5 people shot.
And it was followed by, or the shooting was followed by, a anti-violence rally. Also, a friend of the show who we've had on several times and written a couple stories about, Mercutio Southall. Him and Richard Rice, who were on the show not too terribly long ago, discussing the little situation we had over in Fairfield where they were almost arrested for picking up trash. For
trying to help out in the community.
They and not just them, but there were other local activists involved where they had a rally at a particular housing project, which is notorious for drugs, violence, shootings. There's been a lot of prolific, just really nasty stuff going on at this one particular housing project. Right after the rally, there was, and from all accounts too, the 6 people that were the one person that died and the 5 additional people that were shot, were apparently all innocent bystanders to some other situation that had happened. Yeah, by all accounts. So,
now you were telling me about this earlier. The response from the city. And again, Alabama, which is a huge Second Amendment state.
We're an open carry state.
What was their response again, Shannon?
Basically, they're going to ban guns from not only this housing project, but I believe the discussion is banning guns from all housing projects, which as when we discuss the city of Chicago with some of the strictest gun laws in the nations.
How has that worked out for anybody?
That does not work at all. Because a lot of these guns and a lot of these weapons in a housing project are not legally obtained by any means whatsoever. You don't have extra money to go buy a legal gun and be on record as buying a gun with your check you get from the state.
Here's the sad part. Here's do you think Second Amendment people are going to even say anything? They're not going to care. I don't think.
No, of course not.
I don't think so.
They just want to shoot each other with illegal guns and just go ahead and let them.
No, they're going to say, take their guns. That's what I think they'll say.
I think you're absolutely right about that.
And look at Chicago. That's not the answer. Violence is not the answer at all.
Absolutely not.
It's not. We have to live in a reality, whether you like it or not, that there are so many bazillions of guns in the street. They're not going away. Sorry to break look, I would love to be the first guy to say this would be great. That's just nobody's going to have a gun. We'll all be good.
I spoke to a man.
But it doesn't work that way in reality.
I spoke to a man the other day who's actually, he's actually a native of Africa. and has recently transplanted over here. I believe he's going to school over at UAB, which UAB is a very has a lot of international or people that come in internationally to get an education there. UAB's got a really good medical program, and he said that was the first thing that really struck him when he first moved here was the fact that everybody in America, it's like, man, it's like they're arming the dogs over here too. I mean, it's like everybody's got a gun. 4-year-old kids got a gun. And I know he was being a little overly dramatic, but
sadly,
I mean, you know,
that story happens.
There are 500 million guns in the United States borders, and that's a conservative estimate.
No way! I don't think anybody has a real number on it.
No, there's no way. It's like getting a real number on the homeless population in the United States. It's impossible. There's no way you can do it. Yeah, it's tough, man.
And people. That's the thing about the Chicago stuff. There's been over 500 people killed there this year, and it really gets under my skin when you talk about. First off, the people of Chicago aren't paid, trained to protect the community. So they say, oh, well, when a cop shoots somebody and kills an innocent person, they automatically go, but what about Chicago? It's like, okay, well, what about it? That's a terrible situation. Let's not use a situation where innocent people are being killed as let's point fingers and cast the blame somewhere else so we don't have to worry about what it makes me uncomfortable to talk about. Well, nobody's doing anything. Why don't you do something about it? If you care so much that you're going to point your finger at it, Well,
it begs the question, though. If you legalize, let's just go ahead and do a complete across-the-board legalization, open carry Chicago. Do the numbers go up or down?
Down, I think.
I think so, too.
I don't know. I mean...
I liken it to this scenario right here. The same thing, and actually Vladimir Putin brought this up, about the balance of power that you have when everyone is armed. When he was talking about the nuclear hegemony that the United States is mounting, particularly with what's going on in the Middle East, and all of the.
It's the same thing on a much smaller scale.
Again on this show, with it is. It really is. It is the exact same thing on a smaller scale. If both of your parties are armed, there's a good chance, even when you're talking a little bit of smack and flipping each other off, that you're going to be a little bit more hesitant to reach for your gun because beyond a shadow of a doubt that the person across from you screaming and
but I will say
flipping you off.
Chicago at one point had a higher murder rate than it does now. And it's just a mess, and nobody wants to invest.
Well, I mean, what was the
nobody wants to invest in the community?
Were the gun laws as stringent as they are now? When you were what you were just referencing?
Well, they've loosened them up a little bit, so that's kind of corrected some of it.
So the number has gone down a little bit.
Right. Well, it's still just ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
There's this many people getting shot.
Look, one person getting murdered needlessly by a gun. We're not talking about an accidental misfiring or this, that, and the other. When somebody pulls a gun out and says, no, motherfucker, you gonna go.
But you know how many people are killed from crossfire, people that weren't being aimed at? Look at Dwayne Wade's, was it his sister?
I can't remember. Yeah, I know it was a family member.
Yeah. She wasn't the target of that. But, people need to love the people around them. We have to stop relying on the government. The government has...
So then I go back to my previous
people
question.
Dependent on the government. It's just not going to work out.
I go back to my previous question about this election. Is voting the answer? We're going to be able to vote our way out of this?
Well,
even with a third-party candidate?
I mean, I don't even know how to know. I mean, of course not.
No. I mean, that's...
We're way past that point.
What we can't...
What we're seeing right now with this idiot election, I hate to interrupt you, but what we're seeing right now with this idiot election is a result of decades of having just two ridiculous people put in front of us. Let's go back through it real quick. Mitt Romney or Obama, great choices. McCain or Obama, great choices. John Kerry or George Bush, oh, that's fantastic.
All of the people you just mentioned sound like way better choices than what we're presented
But
with
no,
right now.
but are they? Are they? Because look at current Secretary of State John Kerry. This is Mr. Peace, Peace, Peace. Well, we don't need to be in Iraq. Look at what he's doing right now. Bunnied up to Turkey. You talk about the most oppressive, ridiculous, just shutting everything down after that coup. And the way Erdogan has treated the people.
What coup? What are you talking about? Hillary fell down yesterday.
You don't remember the coup that they...
No, man, that was like weeks ago.
You don't remember the Friday night they released the 28 pages? Hey, there's a coup in Turkey, everybody. Pay attention to that.
You know how many memes there's been since then? Hundreds. Literally hundreds.
That's the
memes.
world we live in. Isn't
That's pretty much about the size of it.
That's the latest news stories, the latest meme, and that'll die out in a couple of days, and we'll be on to something else.
Yeah.
That's how the news works. Everything's just one meme after another. Because but the mainstream media, that's over. Like, it's over. And I'm not just saying that because I'm sitting here talking on anti-media platform. I'm saying that because that's reality.
Mm-hmm.
It's done. Nobody trusts those people anymore. Who trusts to get their news from CNN or Fox News? Look.
Or the Washington Post.
The Washington Post. Putin had her poisoned. Give me a break.
I think it was more plausible that Trump may
Do you know how many people that had to go through before that was printed? At least two. Somebody wrote that out. There was an editor. Somebody hit publish. Like, a lot of people said, this is a good idea.
Yeah.
They didn't go, this is insane.
Several people.
And we're going to look like idiots posting this. That never crossed their mind. They just said, we're just going to go along with some ridiculous propaganda. And look, that's media from top to bottom. I am in no way a supporter of Donald Trump. But I think it's amazing that CNN, I have never seen him do this with anybody else. He'll make a statement, whatever. Hypothetically, he says Mexico's going to build a wall or whatever. And he'll say, Trump, Mexico's going to build a wall. And in parentheses, it'll go, he's not, or whatever. Like, it'll correct him on the screen. Mm-hmm. There's never been a politician they've ever done that with. I don't remember Dick Cheney being on TV going, they've got weapons of mass destruction, and CNN going in parentheses, they really don't. I don't remember that. I don't remember Bill Clinton going, I didn't have sexual relations with that woman, in parentheses going, yeah, he did.
He did.
I don't remember that. I don't remember anything coming out of Hillary's mouth, and there should just be a guy shaking his head to the right going, none of that's true. Yeah. But they do it with him for some reason. I don't know what the point is, but look, it's just become a joke. It's become a joke.
And, nobody needs to help Trump look any worse than he already does.
He does a good job on his own.
I mean, he does a damn good job. And somehow comes up smelling like a rose. Wow.
Well, that kind of stuff helps.
I'ma let them know through the stereo. Yo, here we go through the stereo.